music program here. His music teacher got him involved when he was 12 years old, so we used to take him over to that Calhoun Center band every Wednesday, and we'd sit and listen while he participated with the rest of the band. So it's got a long history in our band, in our family. And I had the store in Livingston Manor for 1945 to 1982. At that time, I went into politics, which I never mentioned to you. I was a supervisor of the town and also legislator of the county. So I didn't have time for stuff like the band at that time, but as soon as I retired from my politics, I joined the band. So I've been in it about 20 years. But Gary's been in it 40 years. And there's a 10-week period where we rehearse starting in April. So it keeps me busy.
And now your grandson Max was in
Max, so Gary and myself and Max, the 3 generations have been in it. All last summer Max played, but Max moved to New Paltz, so he's not active in it this year. But he does come up once in a while and play in it.
And what instrument does he play?
He plays the trumpet, and Gary plays the trumpet, and I play the clarinet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've missed that.
And you know, when I came back from the service, my sister Ann had a little band, and we had a Catholic camp up the street on the White Road Lake Road, and they used to have dances for the kids every Wednesday. And Annie got this job, so she convinced me to play with her. So about 4 or 5 summers, I played clarinet with her in the jazz band so these kids could come up and dance every Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So it's always played a part in my life too.
Did you ever think you'd live into your 90s?
No, I never gave it a thought.
Yeah, it just happened.
I thought, really, being 7 years difference between my wife and myself, I figured she'd be the one holding the bag. But she passed away. She had ovarian cancer, and it spread, and they just couldn't control it anymore. So that was the end. But I always felt that she would be the first one to go, not me. But here I am.
Did you discuss it with her?
No, never discussed it. Never talked.
You just figured that in your own mind.
Yeah. Well, I always had a hunch. You know, my father died when he was 42 years old. He had 3 kids. And I was following in his footsteps. I had 2 girls, and then I had Gary. And I always feared getting through 42. I look back at it now, it's so silly, really. But I always had the fear that maybe I was in his pattern. But here I am, doubling that. Well, I attribute that to my wife too, because whatever we did, she always insisted, whatever we do, you do in moderation. And that's the way we lived, and whether it was a food or whatever. The only thing, she did smoke until late in life, but she had cancer when Shelley was I don't know, 11 or 12 years old. And she had a breast removed at that time. You know, they didn't have much choice back then either. Took the whole thing, or you took a little piece. She said, no way. Yeah, she decided she was going to have the radical mastectomy. She had the whole thing with the arm and everything taken off. And she beat cancer for 40 years. Yeah.
And it was a good 40 years.
It was a great 40 years.
Mm. Do you think there'll ever be anyone else for you?
No, never.
Never?
Never.
Is that because your children won't let anybody come around?
Well, you could never get used to any other pattern after the 63 years. You have a pattern and a wonderful wife and all. You can't replace that. And I wouldn't expect to at my age. When she died, I was 88 or 89. Yeah. You know, so where am I going? But I've got the family around me. They came, they helped me out and keep me going, and it's been good. It's been good. I've done a lot of things in my life, I've always been part of the community. I was in the Chamber of Commerce. I was the president of the chamber for many years, and as a citizen of Livingston Manor, I wanted to do my part. I also was on the school board for 20 years, from 1950 to 1970 or 71. I was on the school board, and I helped shape a lot of things in Livingston Manor. And as time went on, I went into politics, and there were certain things I wanted to get done for the county. One of the things were, I don't know if you've seen the covered bridge down here. It's just off 17. That bridge was falling into the river when I became a supervisor. And one of the things I had in mind, we got to save that bridge. And so when I became supervisor, I was able to convince the rest of the Board of Supervisors to come up with $250,000. And we hired a guy from Vermont who originally built bridges like that. And he rebuilt that bridge. He never used any nails. It's got pegs, you know.
Just like the original.
Not like the original bridge. That's one of my legacies. And the other one is the recycling plant we have here in Livingston Manor. When I was supervisor, the board turned down $1 million project to have these, what did I say, that's the recycling. I have a senior moment every once in a while.
You're entitled to it.
Anyway, they decided to turn down the program of recycling plants in different areas of the county. So I got together with the administrator of the county. I said, why don't we put in one and see how it works? So I was able to get the first one in Livingston Manor. It's about 3 miles from here, where we do all our recycling. We take all our bottles and the papers and everything. And after that, the county, they opened others in the county like that. So I feel that's sort of my legacy. And I'm still very busy, you know, with when I was Rotarian. I had the store and was very friendly with everybody. I don't know if you ever heard of Lazar Kaplan, but Lazar Kaplan was a diamond cutter who came to the United States during World War I, and he somehow never could get back to Europe. So he became a citizen of the United States. And in 1930, either 29 or 30, he had this Junker diamond. You probably heard that you have to study the diamond like for a year or 2 years, and then you hit it one time and split it. So he had this Junker diamond. It was the third largest diamond in as I understand it at the time, and he was very successful in splitting that diamond. I guess he became a millionaire. And he lived in New York, but he bought a summer home here in Livingston Manor up in Lou Beach. And he used to come into the store, and I finally convinced him to become a Rotarian. And he was 79 years old when he became a Rotarian. He became very active in the youth programs that we had, that Rotary runs. As time went on, he was in Rotary until he was like 101 years old. And he became very
22 years.
Yeah, and we gave him, Rotary gave him a 100th birthday. And he, as a result of being a Rotarian and being interested in the youth program, he left a good share of his fortune in a
trust
yeah, to help Livingston Manor youth out of Livingston Manor and Roscoe schools. It's about $1 million and a half. So, and I handle all that right now. I still handle it. He was a real staunch, opinionated guy. He had to know how to handle them, you know. And he had a son who's also became part of the fund. He's on the board. We work with the board, and his son recently moved out of the New York area, and he's not active anymore. This fund goes on, and the Kaplan Foundation, I just sent out the checks, over 50 checks, anywhere from $500 to $3,000, helping kids with their tuition out of Livingston Manor.
Mm-hmm.
We also give $1,000 to the library. We give $1,000 to other local organizations. So that's something that I feel I was sort of responsible for, bringing him into the
Directly.
area. Yeah, right.
And you were the link.
I was the link.
Was he your mentor?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
He led the way.
He led the way. He was a great guy.
Have your children been a great source of pride to you?
Oh yeah, every one of them. I love them all. They're great kids. They're great kids.
Did you ever think that that in your elder years, that your children would be your standard bearers, your source of strength?
I hope they don't have to really take care of me. I want to be on my own till the end. But they're there for me whenever I need them. And my daughter-in-law and my daughter-in-law and son-in-laws are all great people.
Well, you've outlived just about everybody you know.
I know. I told you that we had a partnership that bought 600 acres. There was Mike Friedman, he was a lawyer. There was Vic Shaver, he had a trucking business, and there was who was the fourth one? Jim Farrell. Did I mention him?
Yes.
He was in the insurance business. They're all gone. All my buddies are gone. But we used to have such a great time. We used to have such great parties. And it was just a great life. Well, can't.
Well, how do you fill that void?
I don't fill it anymore. I just go from day to day. You can't fill it.